is John. I wish my parents would trust me.
Hi, my name is Andrew and I wish my parents would involve me in decision making.
My name is Lena, and the thing that will love my parents to do more is to be more understanding and also be good listeners, for I'm also a person with things to tell them.
Afternoon everyone, welcome to the youth discussion today. I'm Moses Kimani, a Form 3 student, and in our panel we have 3 people who I think will introduce themselves. Let's start with...
Thank you. My name is Leverett Kamau. I'm the parish minister and I'm also a friend for the youth. I'm happy to be here.
I'm Lois 22 by names and I'm part of the teenage congregation in this church, and I'm here to discuss the issues concerning parent-teenage relationship.
I am Elizabeth Getonga. I'm a parent to teenagers and a friend to the youth.
Maybe we can start our discussion by posing a question to our young people here, the teens. They are good representative of our young people in the church. What do you think causes conflict between teens or you people and your parents? Maybe we can start with Moses.
For me, from my opinion, is that most parents, they have a certain level of trust issues with their children, especially teens. So they see teens don't know much, can trust them to do this and that. So I think that's one of the main issues which causes conflict between teens and their parents.
So you are suggesting they do not trust you fully?
Yes, not fully.
Not fully. Okay. How about you?
In my opinion, I think one of the problems is lack of communication between the parents and the teenagers. Because then if I don't express myself and if they don't give me their honest opinion, if we don't have communication, then there's a gap. So I think that is one of the issues that is affecting parent-teenage relationship, lack of communication.
Okay, and how about you, Madam Getonga? How do you think we find some gap between the teens and their parents?
Okay. One of the things that brings that kind of conflict is basically our understanding, looking at how teenagers interpret life and how parents look at life. So we find that the teenagers we have at the moment are trying to find their way in terms of their career, their talents. They are trying to find their place in the society. And because of that energy and vision that they have upon themselves, we find that at times it's challenging for the parents to understand them. Some parents have a given vision. Maybe they want their child to be a doctor, and here a child comes up and they say they want to be either an artist or a musician, and to be able to marry the two visions becomes a challenge. So I would also encourage the parents to be in a position to understand the needs of their children because they are different, and marry the two to create an understanding.
I also tend to think that perhaps some of the causes of conflict between teens and their parents could be out of the challenges that comes with the stages of life. Because for one, you find that teens are in transition from childhood to adulthood, and they are experiencing some identity crisis and also teenagehood crisis. And they are at a stage when they are seeking for independence. You know, when they were kids, when they were children, when they were young, they were fully dependent on their parents. And you would find that parents are making decisions in any area of their life. They decide on which clothes for them to wear, and at the same time where to go and where not to go, what to do and what not to do. And they cooperate very well at that age. But when now they are growing up in teenagehood, and it starts actually in pre-teenage, you find that they are striving for control of their own life. They want some independence. And parents, you know, they are used of seeing these teens as children. They have seen them from toddler growing to childhood. Now they still consider them to be still children. And that's why sometimes you find that struggle. At the same time, you find that still in the changes of life, parents are also changing. You know, they were young parents when these children were children. They were below 9 or 10 years. They were young parents. But at some level now, when they are teenage, also parents have graduated maybe to midlife. And when it comes to midlife, there are some crises that comes along with that stage. This is the stage where you find the parent is considering some things that they want to do in life. Perhaps they are buying products, they want to develop themselves. And maybe they have a lot in their mind. They are having midlife crisis. And whenever perhaps a child or rather the teen with that consideration that they are children, yule mtoto wakati sasa mzazi anamfikiria kama ni mtoto, and they are telling them what to do, and the child is seeking for independence, and the parent is not quite much ready to assist that child, they feel as if that child is becoming hardcore, they are becoming hard-headed, and you will find some conflict kwa kuwa mzazi anaona huyu mtoto ni msumbufu tu, anataka kunisumbua. Sasa inafika wakati anamwambia, I'm your parent, I know the best, what is best for you, so do as I say. By the end of the day, you find conflict. But I don't know how you feel. Anything maybe you can add on that? Perhaps you feel that you can add on that area?
I agree with you about how parents relate with teens. Also, the fact that when you're growing up, when you're a child, every decision is made for you by your parents, and you don't question it. So when you start growing and start discovering yourself and looking for your identity, when they start pushing their goals and what their characters and what they need you to be, you start acting out, and there's a gap. So at that teenage stage, if you look at it, that is where most kids separate, like the communication ends with their parents. So I think it's because when they try to discover themselves, the parents don't really give them the chance, and they act out. So that is why the teenage stage, watu wanajua ndio stage ya vichwa ngumu. So I think that is, I'm adding on it as an issue.
How about you, Moses?
For me, I also agree, and I would like to add upon it where we were in school and then we were asked, what is it that you would like? It was a mentorship program. We were asked, what is it that you would like your parents to know? One of my friends said, I want my parents to know, yes, you tell me I'm a young adult. How do you expect me to act like a young adult while you're treating me like an infant? So I think that's where the collision is coming. For us to become adults, we need room. For us, it's reaching a point where it's not enough for us, for you to tell us as parents, don't do this. Yes, we'll take your word for it, but we also need to experience, make our own choices, learn to grow by ourselves. I think that's what is making parents and teens conflict.
And what if you are given that room to do that which you feel is good for you, that independence? How do you think you can use that room or freedom?
I believe it is also about how you are raised. If you are raised in the right manner, teens might be people with high hormones. But there's also something at the back of our head that tells us, this is a line, enough.
Okay.
So I believe if you're given that independence, most teens will use it in the right way instead of misusing it.
So you are suggesting that also parents should be very careful when they are nurturing or bringing up their children from childhood.
Yes.
Because they need to instill good morals. That whenever now the freedom will be given, they will be able to choose and to know that this is good for me, this is not good for me.
Yes.
Okay. Then that brings in the second question that we are addressing for today.
How do you think parents should handle us teenagers? Because we might think in a certain way, but you also have your own opinion.
That's a very good question. And now, for us as parents, when we are dealing with teenagers, we need to understand a number of things. One is that the teenagers we are bringing up are people who have grown and people who are still growing. So one thing we need to understand as parents is that these children are people who have a mind that has grown and has developed. They have got their own personality, they have got their own needs, which we need to address. So one of the things we need to do is to understand that they are human beings who have got a destiny, a vision, and something that they are projecting and desiring to do in their own life. So parents, the moment you have these children, one, we need to have a place of communication. Get a place where an understanding, where you as a parent, you move a 50-50, let me call it a win-win situation, a 50-50 situation, where you sit down with your teenager and you're able to understand what is it that you want in life. Why did you do this particular situation? The moment you get into their mind, then you're able to advise them. So we need to have good listening skills, have a time and a moment where you sit down with the young ones and ask them, what is it that you want? If you realize that there is a conflict between you and the children or the teenagers, have a meeting with them, sit with them and ask them, what is the issue? Listen to them, understand what they are doing, where are they coming from and where do they want to go. After that, then you are able to come up with a decision that is going to help them to be better people and to reach a good discussion or a good decision. Understand their interest. It's not always that what they desire is wrong. You realize there are things that they desire and they are okay. But if they are not guided appropriately, they make the wrong decision. And one thing I always advise parents when you are dealing with teenagers, whatever thing they want to do, maybe even it's to go and watch a movie somewhere, sit with them, tell them what is the movie you want to go and watch. They will tell you, take a paper, write all the advantages of watching the movie, then write all the disadvantages of watching that movie. Whatever they are, let them feel free. And whatever they bring on board, do not condemn them, do not harass them, do not criticize them. Then rationally, go over the advantages and go over the disadvantages. Which ones are stronger and which one has got consequence? Because every decision you make has got a consequence. If you reach a good decision, it has a consequence. If you go for a wrong decision, it has the consequence. Then ask the teenager, are you in a position to be able to deal with the consequence? If they tell you they cannot, then that means it is the wrong decision. And you realize at this age, the teenagers want to feel responsible over the decisions they have made. So that means as much as you may know the right answer, just take your teenage through the process of reaching the decision. It could be your idea or your decision, but bring it in a way that the youngster feels they are the ones who have reached that particular decision. And also about the issue of diversity, you may have 4 children, but we need to understand that our children are very different. They may have the same mother, the same father, the same house, but we must understand, just as our Reverend had said earlier, that every child is unique in their own way. One, look at the firstborn. Probably when you got the firstborn, you were 20 years old, and that was your first child. You had no experience. By the time you are getting the secondborn, you are 28. So this child who is being born in the family is getting into a family of 3 people, while the other one was in a family of 2 people. By the time you get the third born, you are probably 32. Your finances have changed, you are more experienced because you have already taken care of 2 children. The third born is born in a family with 2 siblings. So this child is going to be very unique, and the fourth born, and so on and so forth. So you may realize that with every child, they're in a different setup. The things they learn are very different. Even the time of age, a child where there's a gap of difference of 5 years, technology has changed, the lifestyle have changed, the styles have changed. So there is no single moment you'll find that the children are the same. That means that the methods you use on every child need also to change, because these children are very different, their likes are very different, and therefore you have to appreciate all these children differently. Their personalities, their temperaments, you find they are different. And maybe even the way we say at times, talking of moods, what parents talk about. Huyu mtoto anapenda kulia sana, huyu anapenda kucheza sana, huyu anapenda kukula sana. Ni watoto, ni wetu wote, and we need to appreciate them with their different strengths. And so you help each child strengthen what they are good at. Whatever is not good in them, then you encourage them, correct their weaknesses in a loving way. So we need to understand our children are very different, and we need to mold them in different ways. Therefore, as parents, let us learn to communicate with our children. And when they say something you think is absurd, or when they say something you're wondering, did my child say that? Let us learn to control our emotions as parents. I know at times it's very difficult, especially the parents of our age and probably much earlier. You could never ask your parent why. Whatever they said, you just did it. But these children that we have, they will always ask you, why should I do this? Please, parents, let us have the patience and control our emotions and be in a position to answer the why question. Excuse me. Whatever they ask, please explain it to them, because we know people and children are curious. They want to know, why can't I do this, or why should I do this? When you explain that, it saves a lot of drama, it saves a lot of energy, and it will also give you the peace and the joy you'd want with the family. And in terms of communication, let us be their friends. We only communicate with friends. If you look at your child as just a child, you will not be able to reach them. Be their friend and be able to guide them and listen to them as they would want to.
Thank you very much. I believe that the program that we are setting will be followed by both the parents and parents who have teens in their houses, and also the teens themselves, because this is a program that can be helpful to both, for we are handling a healthy relationship between the teens and their parents. And as Madam Getonga has mentioned, the points that we are trying to bring together is how we can be able to bridge the gap between the teens and their parents. They have been able to express themselves on some areas that perhaps they find some bridge, and some of the areas is that of communication. Some others are areas of trust. Another area is that of decision making. And I believe it is the pride of every parent to have to grow up an adult, someone who will be able to make good choices in life. And you know, when it comes to making good choices and becoming a responsible adult, it also goes with the training. Remember, when you are bringing that child at a very toddler age, at that young age, when they were walking, learning to walk, you took them through the process of teaching them, or rather training them on how to walk. Ulikuwa unashikilia yule mtoto anatembea alafu unamwachilia. The same applies even when they were learning how to speak. You are teaching them or helping them to learn how to talk. The same applies even when it comes to becoming an adult. And we should remember that these people are transiting from that childhood to adulthood. And adulthood will not just come. It will be developed. It will be grown. You know, that adulthood is not all about age, but it is nurtured. And therefore, as parents, we need to nurture our children into adulthood. And one of the things that we need to recognize is that our teenagers are individuals who will have to make decisions on their own at some point. And therefore, we need to give them at some point and train them on how to make decisions. Train them on how to be independent, how to do things by themselves, even in terms of decision making. Like, for example, even when it comes to career choice, first listen to them. You may give an advice, but it is important for you to listen to the desire, the want, the like of that child. And you trust that they can be able to do something good. Yes, you are there to be with them and to watch them and see that they are succeeding. But do not push them into something that they feel they are not too much comfortable. We need to train them in that area of decision making and also relate with them in a friendly way. One of the areas that parents we need to learn, and also teenagers need to learn, that for us to bridge the gap between parents and teenagers, we must be friends. This is what sometimes we are missing. We relate parents relate with their children as their children, and also teens relate with their parent with that authority of a parent. But we need to develop that rapport, that friendship. And when it comes to friendship, we must consider things like friends do trust each other. You can trust someone in some areas, but be close to them at the same time, that you may guide them in some areas that perhaps you may feel they are not doing the best way that perhaps you may think. And also create that rapport and communication line. Make it very open. Make the communication line between yourself and your child to be very open. Let them feel that I can talk and my parents can listen. Because the moment that we may say something and because we are parents and we tell them, this is what I think and there is no debate about it, you will make them switch off, and perhaps they will do something simply because you have said it, and perhaps it was not the best for them. We must also remember that they need to be given some independence of a kind, and we have a role to train them into that direction. And make them feel free to share their opinions. It does not mean that a parent's opinion is the final one. Have a discussion in between you two, and remember, as parents and as friends for our children, we need to give them time. Friends gives each other's time, quality time. Sit with them. Some of our parents do not have time for their parents. For their children. They are too busy out there to provide for the family and all that. Lacking time for that child. It is important for you to create time, especially for the teenagers, because you need to punch your influence on their lives, that they may feel free, that even when they find some things that are strange out there, or whatever that they may experience with their peers, they will feel free to come and share with you.
Yes, thank you. Just to wind up on that, I remember that there is an important aspect we need to remember as parents, the issue of discipline. Because some of the things we handle our teenagers is always in conflict when we are trying to instill discipline in their lives. So as parents, we need to remember that the first way to discipline our children is to be a mentor and a role model. We can't be telling them things contrary of what we are doing. You can't be smoking cigarettes or taking alcohol, yet you expect your teenagers not to do the same. Remember, our children and our teenagers do what they see, not what we tell them. Actually, vision is a very strong means of learning. So whatever we do, you can't be lying to your friends. Unapigiwa simu kama mzazi unasema niko kwa gari, and your son and daughter sees you in the house. Tomorrow they will learn that they can lie. So can we set a good example in everything, the way we communicate as spouses in the house? If you are lying to your husband or to your wife, your children also learn that they can lie to you. Also, let us know how best to utilize the energy they have. Teenage is a stage where these people have got a lot of energy. So if we don't engage their energy positively, they will utilize that energy in doing other things. So when you are coming up with a day-to-day activity or a schedule for the day, please make sure that you have given them activities to engage them physically, so that they can utilize both their physical energy and their mental energy.
Very good. Now, how about you, Moses? How do you think that parents should handle you?
My experiences, how I think best is how they handle in the moment when they have found out a mistake has been done, because that dictates how I'm going to see the parent. If in the moment, yes, it may be emotional, but if you take it in a judgmental way, as a teen, I'll take it, you're a judgmental parent. So if I have any issues, I won't bother coming to you because I know I won't be helped. I'll be judged. So if that can change, if you take it in the moment and you're like, okay, instead of judging me, you ask, why did you think this is right? Learn my opinion, because I think if you learn to listen to my opinion, you get an idea of what kind of a person I am. So if you get an idea of what kind of a person I am, you get an idea of how you can train me to become better. So it's all in the moment. When a mistake has been done, trust me, I will know I have done a mistake.
Very true.
So if you take it like, umefanya hii tena, you start raising your voice, so like, when you jingle, unafanya that kind of thing, I'll say, there's no use. I might have another issue that I made a mistake, you might not know. I'll just say, I'd rather not tell you to save myself some mental health.
Supporting Moses, something also that avoids argument is when I don't know why parents think that when you want to speak your mind, yes, you've made a mistake, but when you want to explain yourself, it's talking back to them. So it ends up being you're disrespectful. So when I do a mistake and then nakuja unaniuliza, so mbona umefanya hivi as your parent? And then when I start explaining, the first thing that hits them, as in you're speaking back to me, so that is disrespectful. So that is another thing that also pushes teenagers away. So one of the things parents should do is listen to their kids. When you find me in a mistake, you'd rather ask me why, and then we have a discussion. So you end up seeing it in my view, because it's different shoes. You'll end up seeing it in my view, and I'll end up seeing it in your view, and that will avoid arguments and shouting and being mad at each other.
Yeah, that's a good point. And what I would also like to tell the young ones in terms of building trust, you need to understand one thing. Trust is something that is very delicate, and once broken, it is very challenging to build it up again. So as a young person, if you want your parents to trust you, you must learn to tell the truth. So to the young ones, learn to express yourself and in truth. You'd rather even look for the best ways and own up for information before you are caught, which is something that many young people don't like doing. I remember when you were small, or when I was a teenager, we'd cross our fingers. I don't know whether the young ones still do that. You cross your fingers hoping you're not going to be caught. So when you are caught, you have already made a lie. And remember, your parent can see before you lie to them. But if you own up the information, if my daughter comes and tells me, Mommy, I'm sorry, this and this is what happened, I will handle the situation differently than when somebody reports to me, I ask my daughter, she lies to me. So the next time she will come out clean, I will still be in question because the other time she lied to me. So young people learn to volunteer information. And I'm sure if you go with an apology to your parent, chances are very high that they are going to be lenient and they are going to be forgiven. So learn to volunteer information before the actual situation or before you are caught.
The last question is, how do you as parents think that teens should respond to your parenting?
That is a very good question. Now it is to us as teenagers. I'll just give us a few tips on how to deal with our parents. One, we know that we are young and we have gone to school. It is very true. There are things my children know that I don't know because they have read books I didn't read. There are things that have developed that probably were not there during my time. But I want to tell the young ones, as much as you know some areas of life that your parents don't know, don't think that you know before them. You know more than what they know. Your parents have been there longer, so there is a lot of information, especially wisdom and the ways of life that they know. I know the young ones, you ask say the question like you were there many years ago, nyinyi wazae, nyinyi wazee, sisi ni young ones, so you don't relate with our times. But one thing I tell the young ones is that one, the principles of life never change. There may be technology, there may be fashion, there may be new music, but the principles of how to govern wealth, to relate with people, to build family, and to do all these things will never change. And life is about principles. You learn the principles, then you can apply them to whatever aspect of life you want. And secondly, I would encourage you that you need to learn to express yourselves to your parents. But now, as we express ourselves, let us consider several things. One, your choice of language. You will not just go and address your parent, your father or mother or guardian in a disrespectful way. So take time, think through the issue you want to address, and address it in a respectable way. The timing is very important. At times people wait, you just call your mom or your dad over the phone and you are discussing a very sensitive issue. Probably your parent is in a meeting, they may not be able to address that particular issue. And when they don't address it, you become very angry. Please, it is important to wait for your parent to come, unless it is an emergency. If it is something that can wait, look for the right or the appropriate time. Sit down, let your parent come, relax, then you can tell them, hey, there's something I need us to discuss. Present your issue in a respectable way. Once you express yourself, the timing is right, the right choice of words, then you are going to have a dialogue. We also need to understand something. I'm sure you have stayed with your parents and guardians and you can tell, today mommy looks okay, today she looks tired. When she looks tired, give it time. Because at times the issue could be addressing is probably something that needs a lot of money and your parent has said today I don't have money. Don't be angry. Bring it up another moment. Because when you bring it another moment, maybe the first time they didn't have money, but this other time you are raising it up, probably they're in a better position to address that issue financially. So bring up issues in the right way and at the right time. We also need to learn to be able to negotiate our issues with our parents. How do we bring it up? Do you bring it like an equal? Because if you are addressing your father, you will not come like another man in that house. You must take your position as a son. Remember the 5th commandment that tells us, honor your father and mother. That is something you should not forget. And I just want to mention this to the young ones. That commandment has a lot of weight. It has a promise to it so that you may live long in the days that you have been given in this land. If you disrespect your parent, one thing is like, they're out of their anger, they may not bless you. And you may say you have all what you have, but remember the blessings of a parent are very important. Do what you have to do to get the blessings of your parent. They determine so much in this world that you live. And so the best thing for us as young people is also to seek their wisdom and their counsel. Sit down with your parent, ask of them, what can I do? I have got this matter at hand, how do I go about it? If you don't agree with them, you can always ask the other relatives, an uncle and auntie, and you can be able to bring these skills together. So we need also to present our issues well and also to listen to them. At times, some young ones, we have already created an attitude that when mom starts talking, we can tell through your eyes, you have shut up, you have closed up. So you're just giving your mom another look, or your dad or your uncle that look, but you can tell your mind is not there. I would ask you kindly learn to listen with an open mind. Be open-minded, because the moment you lock your mind, you cannot communicate. And likely, what is most likely is that when you wear that attitude, whatever word that will come out of your mouth is a rude comment, and you're going to start a fight with your parent. Please just take your position as your child. Personally, I am old, many years ago. I am still answerable to my mother, and I will not disrespect my mother because I'm living independently. That system has to remain there. Whatever age you are, please learn to respect your parents. If you don't agree with whatever they are saying, look for another moment to bring it up again in a respectable way. And let us not be rebellious. There are people or there are ones who do things out of rebellion. Nataka madhe ajue, nataka kumshow. You realize when you bring that issue of nataka kumshow, nataka ajue, chances are you get hurt. It's not your mom who gets hurt, it's not your dad who gets hurt. You are the one who gets hurt. And so at times when our parents are concerned, we tend to feel that they care too much, they are bothering me. Those of you who have got phones, actually walk out of the house and you switch off the phone. But if anything happens, you find that you have got no help. You need your parents, you need them to help you. And so as young ones, remember, I like telling young people, whatever is precious to you, hata kama ni 100 bob, utashinda ukirusha mkono hivi, isipote. Unachekile so, bado iko, unarusha hivi. Because unataka kuchekika nini, iko sawa. It's the same case. Your mom will keep checking on you because when you're mia yake, you're that precious. So the moment you understand that your mom is checking on you because you are precious, because you are dear to them, it's not that they are nagging you. It's not that they don't want you to have life. They want to, but they want to protect you. They want to make sure mia yake bado iko nini? Iko sawa. So the moment you understand that it's because they love you, it's because they care for you, they have got their own fears. They have had their friend's daughter, something bad happened to them. Their friend's son, there's something bad had happened to them. They also have got that fear. They don't want the same to happen to you. So understand that your parents love you, they care for you, and they want the best for you. When they are limited, you can always come. Nowadays, there's information. Sit with them and tell them, hey mom, we learned that we can do this thing in a different way. So please allow me to do it in this different way with understanding and proper communication.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Maybe to add one or two things is that, we are seeking for independence, and that we may be able to come up well on who we are in life and do our own things that we feel we are comfortable doing. But one of the most important things that our teens need to understand, our young people need to understand, is that they need trust from their parents. Let them be trustworthy. Madam Getonga Arya mentioned that trust is earned, not given. For sure, if you have proved not to be trustworthy, do not expect parents to trust you. Therefore, be trustworthy. And when it comes to decision making, be careful on the decisions that you make for yourself. Remember, they said that decisions or choices have consequences. You may choose some things that will affect you for the rest of your lives. Whatever that you may choose to do today, whatever that you may choose to, the line that you may choose to take, it doesn't matter whether it is in the line of career or in the line of life and relationship with your other peers. You need to understand that whatever that you may choose to do today, remember that there may be some positive consequences that will come along, and that will be good for you. What if there are negative consequences? They will affect you for the whole of your life. And therefore, be trustworthy and make good choices in life. Again, our young people need to understand that, or rather they need to take heed of their parents' advices. I have a professor when I was in college, in the university, who told us in class that if there is anyone, all other people in life do compete with you, and it is only two people who doesn't compete with you in life: your parents and your teacher. Your teacher will teach you to be better than they are. They will teach you to get PhD and to become doctors, and perhaps they are nursery school teachers. And your parent will do the best to prepare you to become a better person, to leave you a better person than they are. And therefore you need to remember that your parent means good for you. Consider that your parent is not an enemy in life. You have a friend in your parents. And therefore, just feel free to share with your parents. Become a friend to your parent, and remember that they mean good for you. And therefore, my dear young ones, it is my prayer that you will take your parents as friends, and you will be friends to them. Be open to them. Share freely. Even the experiences that you get out there, be free to come and share with them the things that other peers are telling you to do perhaps in life. If you may feel free to share, you will be able to benefit out of the advices that they are going to give you. Getting back to you, our sister, is that how do you think then that perhaps you can respond to your parents?
In my opinion, again, it's all about communication. Let me feel like I have a say in something that happens in my life. So also how teenagers can respond to their parents is by trying to understand their point of view. Not that anakuonea or anything, but because they care for you. So again, communication, and I think that is the only way people can relate.
And you know, communication must have a rapport. You must also create that rapport and prepare your parent. And as our sister has mentioned, you need also to check on the attitude and the timing. You need not to just bump on your parent seeking for some explanations in some areas. It is important for you to learn on how to approach them in a manner that perhaps they will not feel that you are disturbing in some way. How about you, Moses?
For me, I feel the best way for us to relate to our parents' parenting is to have an open mind.
Open mind, yes.
Not to be moody, understand where your parent is coming from. Have an open mind, and at the core, you may not like what they're telling you. Understand these are people who want the best for you.
Exactly.
And if you understand that, I think, and have an open mind, you'll be good to go. And another thing is, something I've always been told, you're in control of your environment, not other people.
Exactly.
So if you're in control of your environment and you know this and this pisses mom and dad off, stop doing it. Or if you have to do it, find a way to control the environment that will decrease the level of anger or the level of disappointment. Or even talk to your parents first before you do anything. Remember, you're still their children.
Very good.
And if that is taken care of, I think we're going to be good.
And you will ever remain a child of that parent. It doesn't matter how educated you will become or how old you will get. Even at 60 years or 70 years, you are a child to that parent. And as she mentioned, is that you need to remember that they have an experience that you do not have. And therefore, having an open-minded attitude is very, very important, because you are ready to understand the point of view, or rather the direction from which the parents are coming from. Maybe we can have the parting shot as we conclude. We can start with Madam Letunga.
To me, for the young ones, I want to tell you that you also, as you are growing, you must appreciate that you are growing, both physically and equally emotionally and mentally. There are things you still are not in a position to understand because of where you are, your experiences. You're in your teenage, your parents are in their maybe 30s or 40s. There are things you must appreciate they know. There are things they can see that you may not be able to see. So when you are told that probably this is not the right time to do that thing, be patient enough. And remember that life is about seasons. What you're doing now is what you're supposed to be doing now. When you get to your 20s, there's something that is waiting for you at that particular season. So don't think that you're supposed to do everything in your teenage life, and you don't have to experience or to learn through your own book. A wise person learns through the books of others. So when your parents tell you this is not the right way to go, please be humble enough to listen to them, because there's something they know that you don't know. And to our parents also, I would encourage you that you create open communication lines with the teenagers in our houses. Have time to talk to them, to listen to them, and even to feel them. What is it that they are going through? And also through open communication, let us reach healthy decisions. And above all, as parents, let us remember to pray for our children. And let us, I know we want the best for our children, but let us remember that God is the one who holds the destiny of our children. We are only custodians. As much as we want the best with them, let us remember to consult God, to pray for them, so that God may give us the resources, the wisdom, the knowledge, and even to understand, the understanding to bring up these people to be noble women and men in their generation.
Thank you, Moses.
I think we have learned a lot today as both parents and us teens on how our issues, how the parent should respond and how we should respond. I think it's taken into account. Have an open communication. There are people who don't like talking to their parents. So for them, try and talk to them, because you will be surprised. As I said, these are people who want the best for you. Have an open mind and learn to express yourself. Not respectfully, not just anyhow, respectfully. And always remember, you are their child. They have about 20 years of experience from you. So respect that and we'll be good.
Thank you.
As I said, none of us has a manual on how things are supposed to be done. There are no rules on how to raise someone like me, and there are no rules on how I should grow up. So the best thing is, let us not be hard on each other. It's our first time to do these things. So let us handle it together, not differently.
So thank you so much. For me, allow me to tell parents, these are your children. Love them, trust them, train them to become adults. But it is important to understand that our children are growing up. We need to give them some space. But the best thing is that let us feel free to communicate to them. Let us avoid imposing things without explaining where there is need to explain, and whenever that perhaps they need that explanation. And again, for our teens, let us respect our parents, because the Bible even tells us that we should respect our parents and also obey them. And this is the only commandment with a promise that our lives will be increased. We shall have many more days here on earth. Remember that you will never overgrow your mother. You will never overgrow your dad. They have a great experience in life. They may not have lived in a time like you are living in, but but you need to understand that they have some experience about this life, and they mean good for you, and therefore try to look for, or to nurture, to look for a good relationship with them. And therefore we wish you all the best, and we know that the Lord will bless our families, will bless our young people, will bless you as parents. You will be able to keep learning. We are also preparing some other programs next week perhaps, or rather in line with this, we are going to come up with a parenting program that we will be addressing the issues on parenting. Keep joining us in these programs. We wish you all the best. God bless you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. That is what we had for you this week, and we are grateful to God. We want to encourage our young people, whenever we may call upon you for such a program, to discuss with us. Please join us. Parents, encourage your teenagers, your young people in the house, that whenever we may need them for such a program, tell them that for sure they can make it. They can be able to participate, like the two young people we had for today. We book a date with us next week, and follow us up through WhatsApp and YouTube, and we know that the Lord will bless you. Let us pray. Our dear loving Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, we thank you for that opportunity that you have given us with our young people, that we may deliberate on some areas, especially when it comes to how they should relate with their parents. Jehovah, King of all the glory, we are happy for each and every participant. And we also thank you for those who are following this program, those who are watching us through Facebook and YouTube. It is our prayer that Jehovah, King of all the glory, the broken relationship between a child or that young person with their parent, oh God, it is our prayer that you are going to help us to mend it. May you, mighty Father, inspire the parents' mind and also their children, mighty Father, that they may be able to relate well with one another, prepare each other for the future, that Jehovah, King of all the glory, your name may be adored. I bless this young person who is following us through this program. Mighty Father, I pray that may you shield them, oh dear Lord, and every weapon that is fashioned against them by the evil one. Jehovah, King of glory, I want to declare with your word that it will not prosper in the name of Jesus Christ. Bless the families that are represented here. Mighty Father, bless your church and be together with us. For we pray in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. God bless you. Have a wonderful time. Till next time. Thank you.